welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alexa and welcome to day 29 of Youvember. Can you believe we're literally one day away from it being over? That's freaking insane. So if you're new to my channel, if this is your first video watching, feel free to skip back because there's 28 days in a row that I have posted this freaking month. And if you haven't seen them, you should go watch them because they're all just sitting on my channel, waiting to be watched. You know how it is, whatever. Okay, but anyways, today I have my beautiful Oh Happy Day yellow mug. You know how I love my coffee and other drinks with caffeine in them. But today we are doing something kind of fun. We're going to kind of talk about like my vegetarian story kind of thing. So today we're going to talk a little bit about my story, my reasons behind becoming a vegetarian, and then kind of like what I'm looking for in the future, I guess. Like I might transition to veganism because that is my end goal. So yeah, let's just like do this shindig because I want to get it started. So when I was in, I want to say 4th or 5th grade, maybe even 3rd grade. I'm not sure when it was, but I remember one of my classmates said she was a vegetarian and I thought it was so cool. I mean, I thought it was really interesting. I like didn't really know what being a vegetarian meant, really. I mean, I knew they didn't eat meat products, but like I was like, oh, that's so cool. I want to be one too. So one day my dad makes these hamburgers and I'm like, I'm a vegetarian now, so I'm not gonna eat this. Sorry. And my dad looked at me like I was literally insane. My mom did too. Probably everyone who was at that dinner table was like, where did this come from? What? She's in like 3rd grade. So I think I was vegetarian for about 48 hours. And then I was literally starving myself because I was convinced I couldn't eat pretty much anything except vegetables because that's what vegetarians eat. So I literally was only eating like broccoli and lettuce and anything that was green. But after those 48 hours, I was like, you know what? I just think vegetarianism isn't for me. So I tried. I think it's cool that so-and-so, little Sheila over here can be a vegetarian, but it's not for me. And then as I grew up, I started to develop more of an opinion about vegetarianism based on my my peers, I guess. In Wisconsin, it's not very common to be a vegetarian. At least it wasn't growing up for me. I know vegetarianism and veganism has grown like substantially since I was a kid in general, but especially in the state where like half the people you know are like farmers and people who like sell animals for meat, like you are not gonna find a vegetarian like anywhere. But I knew a couple that went to my high school or whatever. But anyways, I'm getting off track. Let's get back on track. Let's do this. So what happened as I grew up, I started to develop this opinion that vegetarianism was kind of dumb. And hear me out, if you're a vegetarian, I'm so sorry, because I was one of those people that doubted you for like ever, and I'm so sorry. But I was like, I don't understand why anybody would be a vegan or vegetarian, because how do they get their protein? Like honestly, how do they get their protein? How do they have food that tastes good? I bet everything tastes like basically garbage because meat makes everything better, obviously. Like literally I had so many opinions that were just completely wrong, but they were pretty much assumptions that I had gained while I was growing up, so they just kind of were. And I really thought that vegetarians were just kind of like starving themselves, like in the name of like animal rights. It was just very confusing. It was a very confusing time for me in my life and definitely made a little bit too many assumptions in general. Freshman and sophomore year still continued that same opinion of vegetarians and vegans. Didn't really know anybody who was vegetarian or vegan until my junior year. I Before my junior year started, the summer before, my roommate texted me and said, "Hey, just so you know, I'm a vegetarian now." And I was literally like shook. Like, this girl and I we loved going out for barbecues. We loved, like, I was so like shocked. I was like, where did this come from? This is insane. So I was like asking her about it. She was like, oh, well, people in my family started doing it, so I'm doing it and I feel so much better and blah, blah, blah. But like all I heard was like, I was like, why, you're not getting enough protein. Like, how are you expecting to live your life without enough protein, first of all? Oh, I hate myself. And then I was like, I don't understand why you did this. Like, I think it's just a stupid decision. I just think it's really stupid. Like, I honestly do. I don't get your decision, but that's cool. You do you. And honestly, I mean, I reacted really bad. So like, props to my roommate for like not like just like hating me forever after that moment. But I just feel like it was, I just didn't understand. Like, I just wanted to understand and I couldn't. Like, I was like, why would anybody want to do this? Like, I just don't get it. As a college student, it's actually pretty easy to go a couple weeks without eating any meat, especially if you're a poor college student, because I mean, mac and cheese, ramen noodles, I mean, spaghetti, all stuff that you can make without meat and pretty easily. And without realizing it, I had actually gone like a couple weeks without meat, and it was kind of like surprising to me because I went home for Thanksgiving that year, and when I ate meat again, I got so sick. And it's so weird. It might have been the most random thing, but for some reason, the universe was telling me that maybe I should look into this vegetarianism thing. I mean, it could have just been a fluke. I mean, I'm sure that it was nothing related to the meat itself, but for some reason, I was like, when was the last time I ate meat? And I couldn't remember. And then it was like, and now I'm so sick. So maybe there's something to this vegetarianism. That's literally how my brain worked. So I decided that I would go ahead and do some research and kind of like look into this vegetarianism thing. Because obviously my roommate was one of the most healthy people that I could imagine. So if she saw something in it, maybe I could see something in it. I ate the meat, I got sick. I mean, maybe there is something to this, and maybe I was just judging too quickly. So I watched a ton of documentaries, and I did a bunch of research. I read some books. I mean, when I research something, like, I take it so seriously, and I was on winter break by that point, so like I had nothing else to do with my life, honestly. So what I did was I watched What the Health, I watched Forks Over Knives, I watched Cowspiracy, and then what really changed my mind, honestly, was Vegucated. And that was the best documentary for me personally, because I watched it and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be a vegetarian. I'm gonna try it. If I hate it, then I hate it. And until then, I'm just gonna do it. So I decided a little bit before Christmas, I believe, that this was what I was gonna do, but I felt like it would be, I don't know, I feel like as humans, sometimes we like make things out to be a bigger deal than they probably are. So when I decided to do this, I also said I need like an excuse so that like I could tell people like, oh, I'm doing it for this, so that way they don't think that I actually wanted to be a vegetarian. Oh, I hate my past self. It's just, we're not the same people. So in my head, I was like, okay, I need to find a reason, like something to commit to, like a program or something like that I was trying out, and it made me be a vegetarian. I don't know. But I was like searching the internet, and I found this thing called Veganuary, and basically it's going vegan for the first month of January. And so I figured, hey, I'll try it. I mean, that way when people ask me, like, oh, hey, you want some chicken? I'll be like, oh, no, I'm committed to this thing called Veganuary. It's when I'm vegan for the first month of January. I've never been vegan before, so this is what I'm doing. I'm just trying it out. Why not? I mean, just a month. And so I went vegetarian until the end of the year, and then I went straight up vegan for a month. And it was kind of crazy because I think when you go vegetarian, you're supposed to kind of like ease yourself into it, like not go straight up vegan right away, because I mean, I feel like that just makes it harder. But that's just apparently not my style. So I went straight up vegan pretty much after a couple weeks. I had a couple weeks of vegetarianism, then I went straight up vegan, no animal products whatsoever for the entire month of January of that year. And once I finished the month of January, I was like, well, I still feel pretty good, but I don't know. Like, I was kind of conflicted, honestly. One of the major reasons that I decided to go vegetarian was for like the animal rights and animal cruelty, all that stuff. That aspect of being a vegetarian was really important to me. And I feel like when it comes down to it, people who go vegetarian because of like weight loss or anything like that, those are the people that are more likely to dip out on it. But for me, even after that first month, I was like, after seeing all that I saw on those documentaries, I honestly don't think that I could go back to eating meat because of what I saw. And every time I eat like a piece of chicken, I'm gonna think of what I saw. And every time I eat like a piece of bacon, I'm gonna think of what I saw. And it was really heartbreaking for me, and it really just like left an impact. Like, it really impacted me. It was really terrible, honestly. And if you're not a vegetarian, if you've never seen any of those documentaries, I'm not saying you have to go vegetarian or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, if you watch them, like, it just breaks your heart. Like, it honestly does. And anybody who cares in any sort of way about animals, I don't know how it would not break your heart at all. Going vegan was really hard for me. Because literally I didn't know how. I went cold turkey and then I went straight up vegan, and I didn't know how to nourish myself as a vegan in my very first month, literally, of being non-meat eating. But then I was basically starving by the end of January because I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what to do. So I decided to go vegetarian in February, and I committed to it. I said I was owning up to it. I was not blaming it on anything else. I was not saying I'm doing it for this reason, like for the Veganuary thing. I just owned it. I was like, I'm a vegetarian now, and that's just what I am. And being a vegetarian has had so many benefits on me personally, and in that first month I felt like it was a lot easier for me to be a vegetarian rather than a vegan, because as a vegetarian I felt like I was still allowed to eat eggs, which I love. I was allowed to have cake because cake has animal products in it, certain kinds of cake at least. And I mean, like, I felt much less constricted by the diet itself. But that was February of 2017, and it is currently November of 2019. So that's how long I've really been pretty much meat-free. I mean, I've had days where I slipped up, I'm not gonna lie to you. Some people think that it's really hard to be a vegetarian because it just constricts your diet so much, but honestly, it's given me so much more freedom in so many ways, if that makes sense. I mean, yes, my dishes don't contain meat, but that like requires me to be creative in the ways that like I cook things, I guess. Like, I cook similar things to what you cook, but I make my version of it in a way that I like to eat. I think being a vegetarian has allowed me to make much healthier decisions when it comes to food. I mean, there is a way to be very unhealthy and be a vegetarian as well, but for me that never really has been an issue as long as I've been a vegetarian. And I think that really helps with keeping my health up. It makes me feel good, and I'm slowly transitioning into veganism. And I don't think that I won't fully be a vegan until I'm in my new apartment, because it's hard when I'm in a house that is not my own, where I'm not filling the fridge with my groceries, because in my own home or in my own apartment or whatever, when I'm filling it with my groceries, there's not going to be things that I don't want to eat in there. And here there's chips, there's everything under the sun that you could want is in my parents' house, and it's great. If I was an 11-year-old, man, this is heaven. Like, I swear, they have like fruit snacks, they have chips, they have it all. But looking forward to the future, I guess what I'm saying is I'm slowly transitioning into veganism. I'm really excited. I am so proud of how far I've come, because literally, as someone who hated vegetarianism to being a vegetarian to transitioning to a vegan, I'm pretty darn impressed with myself, if I do say so myself. But yeah, if you are curious, or if you ever have like had the thought cross your mind of becoming a vegetarian, I totally recommend it. I recommend doing your research and seeing like what's out there, because I mean, I think it's kind of fun. Like, why not? Changing up your diet is something really easy to do, and it's really, I mean, if it makes you feel better, then like, why not? Like, you know what I mean? And don't worry, I get enough protein, if you're worried. Okay, I feel like this is not even continuing to be like a productive conversation. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, there are 28 days before this day that you could go watch right now. And if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button. We still have one more day left, and don't worry, day 30 is a banger, so it's gonna be extremely fun. So yeah, I think that's about it. But thank you so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.